Welcome to Theater Corner. I'm your host, Michael Taylor. Theater Corner is created as an ongoing effort to promote more diverse interests and involvement in the theater scene. Today, our episode is taking place at the Cygnet Theatre, nestled here in historic Old Town in San Diego, California. But we're here with the brilliant actor, Boddie. Welcome to Theater Corner, brother.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
All right. You're in San Diego, back at the Cygnet.
Yeah.
You've been here before.
Yeah. Done 3 plays here now. Stupid, Effing Bird, I don't want to say that word, 7 Guitars, and King Hedley II.
The play you're performing in this time is Every Brilliant Thing, directed by Rob Lutfi, and you're running from August 22nd to September 16th.
Yes.
This is a one-person show.
Yes, sort of. And so there's a lot of audience participation. The play centers around a list that I write when I'm a 7-year-old boy, because that was around the time that my mom first attempted suicide. On the way to the hospital, my dad says that she can't see anything worth living for. And so I started a list of every brilliant thing in the world that's worth living for. And so what's immersive about this play is that at the beginning, there's no blackout, no curtain will rise. I will be outside in the lobby. I will be talking, mingling to people and giving them slips of paper with a number on it. And whenever I call out that number throughout the show, they have to yell out with their biggest voice whatever that item is on the list. And so throughout the play, I mean, I go all the way up to 1 million. But I'm also telling the story of from age 7 to her last attempt, and taking you guys on that journey with me. And certain audience members will be playing certain characters in my life too. It's not a lot of lines or anything. They're basically just there to help me tell the story. And so it's a one-man show, but it can't just be me. And so it's almost an everybody show.
Right.
You know.
And we're on the stage now where this play takes place, and I can't help to notice there are these extra chairs.
Yeah, and so, well, when the play was first written, it was set in a round, and every production has been in a round. This is a proscenium set. And so we've actually put chairs on stage that you can purchase. And so there will be people on stage that will be having a different experience of this theater, and seeing the show.
So a one-man show. I mean, this is no small beans. This is not the simple thing either. No. I mean, so how you been preparing for this?
It's about 52 pages of lines, and so I came to the first day of rehearsal off book, and we started rehearsal a week ago. And so we had a week of rehearsal, we have a week of tech, and then we open the show. And so this is a quicker process than normally. Normally you get 3 weeks of rehearsal.
Right.
You go into tech, and then you open the show. And so I've had to speed it up a lot. And that's taught me a lot about losing an expectation of a result, being easy on yourself as far as embracing a role like this that really talks about really heavy issues. And I mean, a lot of people who have dealt with, things like mental illness or been affected by it, because we've all in some way or another been affected by someone who has suffered from that. They will have a different experience, I feel like. And my goal with this performance is to get a dialogue going about it, because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. There's a stigma about it.
Right.
And so once that dialogue starts to happen, I feel like the healing process will begin for a lot of people. And so preparing for a role like this is very unique, but I'm doing it with my best friend that I've known since I was 17. And so it's the pressure's off a little bit.
Right. You say that you showed up off book, and I say, of course you did, because you're that kind of actor.
Yeah, you gotta go hard or go home, man.
Right. So it's 90 minutes.
It will fluctuate depending on the improv that I have with the audience and how much they're enjoying their role. So it's hour and 15, hour and 20, may go a little further than that, yeah.
This is quite challenging. I mean, for you as the actor, I mean, on stage, and it's only you for the most part, for almost 90 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you expecting that to be? I mean,
it's.
I mean, I know you're up for the challenge.
Yeah, but you always want those roles that's gonna give you little butterflies in your stomach. You want those roles that's gonna scare you a little bit, because if you're doing it and you're that isn't there, it's like, why are you doing that role? Why are you portraying it? What are you learning from it if you're not risking something?
Right.
And so every night I'll be risking something, because I want people to think when they come to see the show, while they're mingling with me outside, once I start talking here, that they're talking to Ro and forgetting that they came to see a play. And if I do my job right, it'll be effortless.
Right,
and people will come up to me afterwards and ask me, did this really happen?
Wow, that's cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
Again, that's from August 22nd to September 16th. Every brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Boddie. And so you got a BFA, North Carolina
School of the Arts.
Yes,
Yeah.
And you've just been going nonstop since then. What it looks like.
I've been blessed. Yes.
You've been doing theater, and you've been doing film and television.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that theater foundation.
Well, North Carolina School of the Arts, we got a little bit of Meisner training, but it was really heavy on Stanislavski training. And so given circumstances, what, why, when, how, those terms, as ifs, like, so for instance, I'm putting myself in the shoes of another character. This character, for instance, this one, my mom actually has never suffered from mental illness or attempted to take her own life. But if she had, so, we got training in that, and also Lecoq, mask work. It's been nice utilizing all of those skills, but it was Michelle Shea, who was a Wilsonian, who directed me in Jim of the Ocean, that gave me another tool. She started doing this thing with us who were in Jim of the Ocean, the cast members, called healing sessions. And I didn't know what it was, but she would do these healing sessions on us before, we would do shows. And I just remember me being so open. And it was easy for me to access different things. And I was like, what is this? And what she taught me is that sometimes the body actually gives you more information and knowledge than the mind does. And so what is your body telling you in this moment? And she taught me how to work with energy, which was another tool. So for instance, in life and also on stage, people are doing either four things. They're pushing someone away, they're pulling someone in, they're stopping someone, or they're allowing. And what that does is all of a sudden I get out of like, what am I doing? What am I action in this scene, blah, blah, blah. And I just, like right now, I'm trying to pull you into me to get you to understand what I'm saying. And it's right. Subtle.
Yeah.
But on film, it works wonders because the camera is right there on you. And so if I can like stop someone with my energy without having to, really muscle it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to, practice those tools. And so she directed me in Floyd, as Floyd, in 7 Guitars. And she directed me in Jim of the Ocean. And I learned so much from her about the rhythm of the text and just that energy work for sure.
You've done a great deal of August Wilson.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw you perform the 7 Guitars here as Floyd.
Yeah.
Which you've done more than once.
Yeah.
King Headley the second. Jim of the Ocean, as you mentioned, and Ma Rainey, you were Sylvester.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
and so you mentioned this rhythm, that goes with this August Wilson piece, because you've done Shakespeare as well, and then there's this thing of if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything because this is that. But I would argue it's the same thing with August Wilson pieces, because there is that rhythm that you find in Shakespearean pieces as well.
There's a musicality for me in every play that I read. And once I find the rhythm, it's effortless. I start to be drawn into the character. The character brings me closer to them, and I'm not trying to bring the character closer to me. And some way, somehow, we start to merge. You know, the deadly part of when you go to see Shakespeare or August Wilson is when people are acting between lines, or when they're breaking it up and they don't realize that the work that they're doing in between those lines will easily come out if they just keep saying the lines, hitting the important words, you know, elongating vowels and finding the staccato with the punctuations. And once you find all of those things, it's so juicy, man. It's just so much fun to just get up there and all of a sudden, you know, 2 hours have gone by and you're like, what just happened? You know, and you've changed some lives, or yours have been changed, you know. It's Shakespeare, August Wilson, absolutely. But I feel like if you just find the rhythm with any play that you get, it's a lot easier to do it than you think it is.
As the actor in television or in theater, what's your approach to getting out of the way? Even as an actor, getting the actor out of the way of the character so the character can be.
Not being so result oriented. That's what really happens when I know that I've done all the work that I can do, and I just hit the stage and I just let it all work on me, instead of trying to do more work. That really helps me. And it helps me to release. Michelle Shea calls having a legal fun. It feels so good that it you know, it has to be illegal, you know, and all of a sudden you let go, you release, and you know, it's hard to not take it home with you. You know, when I first started, I was such a obsessive artist. You know, I would, you know, you should be to a certain extent, but you also have to practice self-care. You know, like a role like this, you know, the places I have to go to, imagining that my mom succeeded one day with taking her own life. All of these things, when I hit that door, I have to leave it here, because if I take it home with me and I dwell on it, you know, yes, you may think you're doing great art when you return to the theater, but you're not really taking care of you, you know.
I always have to ask actors like yourself, so who's correct, Boy Willie or Beatrice in Piano Lesson? Do you have an opinion?
I have to go with Beatrice. I have to. You know, my dad, he's living in the house that he was raised in on land that belonged to my great-great-grandfather. And I was also raised in that house too, and slept in my dad's room. And when my dad passes, it'll belong to me. There's something about having something that nobody can take away from you, that you know, it gives you pride to know that you held on to something that, you know, is in your, people that's in your blood have, you know, worked so hard to get. Yeah, so I have to go with Beatrice. You know, I mean, my dad even told me, he said, I will come back out of my grave if you ever sell my great-granddaddy's land. And so I also have that to think about. So, yeah.
You have done television. You're in The Good Wife, Unforgettable, Person of Interest.
Yeah.
What are the differences when you're doing these two approaches to acting?
Well, theater's 70% language, 30% visual. Okay. And film is the other way around. And so you could tell a lot more, you could tell a clearer story in film, the way that you take your glasses off and look at somebody, or the way that you just pick, you know, lint off your pants or something like that. And it's all being seen. And so that tells a clearer story than just talking and talking. Like you think about the filming of Fences. In my opinion, it was almost too big for the screen. And it was a lot for a lot of people to take in too, because it's all of this language. Certainly. You know, you could tell that it was meant for the theater. Right. And so that's the biggest difference. It's also not much rehearsal. You know, you get, I mean, I'm not getting much rehearsal for this, but normally you get 3 weeks. You show up to a set, you had that script maybe the day before, maybe if you're lucky, or if they're doing rewrites, you're getting a completely different script that day. You have to learn those lines. A director is basically gonna come and be like, all right, so, and give you direction that makes no sense. So think of fire. when you say this line? And you just have to deal with it. And so minimum rehearsal is one of the things that I had to be like, okay, I have to go into my toolbox and figure out what works for me really quickly, because I'm gonna waste all these people's time, the extras, director, and I have to, hit the mark. And so knowing that I have, 28 shows for this play, to fail, get up, fail again, get up, it's like a, whew, it's a relief.
But then there's also, immediate reactions with the audience, because it's more collaborative also on stage between the actors and the audience. I would think. One thing I really admire about you as an actor is you really take ownership, so to speak, of your career. I mean, you really take this serious. Yeah. I mean, you talk about having creating relationships with your casting directors and such.
Yeah.
What got you to that point? Was there a lesson learned, or you just kind of figured it out on your own, or?
I'm just madly in love with it. That's all, like I'm not gonna, it's like being in love with a partner, I have a certain responsibility, to, keep the love going, to, keep the marriage going, to make it flourish. And so that's the same with my passion. I'm lucky enough to have found one. Some people go their whole lives and they just work and they work and they work. And I was lucky at the age of 17, when I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and my guidance counselor filled out my electives, put me in a drama class, didn't know what that was, and I did my first monologue, and people's faces, I was like, finally, I know what I'm good at, and I know and it just happens to be what I love. People are saying I'm really good at it for the first time. I'm good at something for the first time in my life, up to that point. And I love it. And so, it was game on since then. So yeah, there's a responsibility when I walk through these doors and I have to deliver a performance. If I'm coming in and people have paid $60 for a ticket or more, and I'm giving $20 worth of a performance, it just can't fly. And so maybe I take it too seriously. But I feel like you have to, I feel like you have to.
Actors that are just starting out, in an acting career, what type of advice would you give them?
Read the material, read the play over and over and over again. Don't feel like you always have the best idea. Get your ego out of the way, because theater is about collaboration. So keep yourself open. Also stay firm in what you know is right, even though a director may try to guide you someplace else.
So after you're done here, what can people expect to see you in? You already have something in particular coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing another play right after this. I'm going to DC. Mosaic Theater Company in DC is doing The Agitators by Matt Smart. And so it's a two-hander between Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony. It's about 90 minutes, so I'm going from being being the only person in the show, to at least having a partner in the next play.
Okay.
And that's going to be a very different experience, but it's cool. I've played Martin Luther King 3 times, and I'm about to play Frederick Douglass. I'm just going to, play as many prolific black men as I can. So yeah, that's the next thing that I have going on. I'm really excited about it.
That's beautiful. And I'm excited about your career. I'm excited about coming to see this play, Every Brilliant Thing, here at the Cygnet Theatre. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be brilliant, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
And thank you again, brother, for coming by and enhancing the show for one episode. I really appreciate you. Looking forward to the show. And thank you, viewers, for tuning into another episode of Theater Corner. And we'll see you next time.